Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name's Michaela and I make diamond painting videos here on this channel. And let me just start out by saying this is not the video I thought I'd be filming today. I really thought I would be filming my January month in review video, which will go up this week. I think Tuesday is what I have it in my calendar for. That'll definitely get put up this week, but I was just chatting with Natalie from Diet Coke and Diamonds and all day today. Well, today, for context, today is Saturday, January 31st, and there was a release from Diamond Art Club. And I talked about in my last vlog video how the Aria illustration was a must-have for me, and how I wanted to grab that Sheena Pike dragon with it. I chatted about that. You know, I ended the vlog yesterday, uploaded it, went about my night, and I kind of woke up this morning feeling like, you know, I don't think I need either of those. And it kind of sparked an idea for me to try in general to be a little bit more intentional about my purchasing. I don't entirely know what I'm going to be titling this video or putting in the thumbnail quite yet, but ideally in 2026, I just in general want to be a little bit more intentional with my personal purchasing and kind of what I feel like I should add to my stash and collection. And so that's what we're here today to talk about. And I feel like this video is going to be a little bit scatterbrained. And for that, I apologize. I have no notes really going into this. I wrote like a quick outline in my phone of how I wanted to approach this topic. And it's going to be kind of a mess of a video, but hopefully it inspires some of you to maybe do the same and just kind of have a more critical, I guess, lens looking at your stash if that's something you're interested in doing. I know there's a few ladies over in the Crafters Den Discord who have had this sentiment for a while, and I am hopping on the bandwagon just a little bit. That being said, I have no plans to like stop buying diamond paintings. I'm not on a low buy. Really, truly, my intention with what I'm about to tell you is to be more intentional, really truly, about what I am adding into my stash. And again, we'll talk about it in a bit here, but I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get right on into it. Okay, so the whole reason we're here, like I said, is because I want to be more intentional with what I'm adding into my stash. For context, I'm single, have no children, have no pets. I don't really have expenses outside of my bills, and so I have an amount of disposable income that I'm able to spend on this hobby, and I have for the last couple of years. My stash has gotten, I would say, a little bit more out of hand than I would necessarily like it to. I will say my stash count. I don't actually know it off the top of my head. But if there's any sort of stash shaming in the comments, your comment will be deleted. You'll be blocked. Just a quick FYI that there is no stash shaming of any sorts in the comments. But as of right now, in my received not started in Gems Flow, I have 435 diamond paintings, which is a lot. I am very fortunate and lucky enough that I do get sneak peeks from Diamond Art Club, and those do come in pretty regularly, and I'm so grateful for it. And so, you know, my stash is a slight bit inflated because of that, but honestly, it really truly, a lot of this was my own doing. And I don't know, diamond paintings in general, I think about my hobby of coloring when I was more into adult coloring, and I'm not saying that like finishing a coloring book took any less time than finishing a diamond painting, because it really truly didn't. But for whatever reason, like having a lot of like coloring books didn't necessarily feel as daunting as having a bunch of diamond paintings. Diamond paintings, you know, I've done attempted a couple 12-hour challenges with diamond paintings. You know, you don't get as much done in like 12 hours or even 8 hours as you might anticipate. Like diamond paintings take forever to finish. And you know, as someone who dedicates a lot of time to this hobby, I still take a while to finish diamond paintings. I mean, even people that are really speedy, like I feel like don't necessarily finish like an insane amount, if you know what I mean. Like if you have a stash of 100 and you finish like a lot of diamond paintings, like it still could take a while to get through them. I don't know where I was necessarily going with that statement, but ideally, so I created this tracker in my journal in my diamond painting logbook. This is fully inspired, if not almost completely copied, from Natalie, Diet Coke and Diamonds, who got this idea from Lisette Crafts and Tells. I will leave all the channels I mentioned linked in the description box. You definitely should check everybody out that I'm linking. But there is a tracker that Lisette had helped make for Natalie, and basically it's a buy less tracker. Basically, I'll show you guys. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. Move this string out of the way. So this tracker basically has your 2025, how many you purchase each month, and then you have a spot to write how many you buy the next year. Ideally, right? Ideally, I'd want the number in 2026 to be lower than 2025. Now, January. I was not thinking about this challenge at all. I managed to double my number. And I'm, again, not counting any sort of sneak peeks. That does not take into account at all because or honestly any diamond painting that is sent to me either from like a friend or from a company, that does not count in this at all. This is strictly the diamond paintings that I am purchasing myself. So I managed to double the number from 2025 into January of 2026. So I'll show you guys that one more time. So basically I wrote how many I bought in 2025, how many I bought in 2026, and the red is indicating that I did not buy less than I did in 2025. So now that I'm actually like paying attention, ideally, I would love to buy less than the year before in that same month. So in February of 2025, I bought 14 diamond paintings. Ideally, I'd like to buy less in 2026. Again, I'm not putting myself on a low buy. I'm surely not putting myself on a no buy. I'm really truly just trying to be more intentional, and I feel like if I document it just a little bit, there's a little bit more accountability there for at least me personally. And if I, pull another January where I double the number, I'm not going to be that upset with myself. I think seeing it visually really helps because like I did not know these numbers going into making this chart, but it is really interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how many months I end up kind of buying less than the previous year. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, I created this tracker in my journal to kind of help me intentionally purchase a little bit more. And actually, in a little bit here, I have some artists that I've listed out. Initially I was like, well, these are my must-have artists. Like if anything comes out by these artists, like I'm gonna buy them. And that isn't even necessarily true for my must-have artists. Like some of them I do consider must-have artists, but not every single painting I'm gonna buy from an artist. And we'll talk about that here in a minute, but yeah, that's kind of my little tracker at a glance. Again, I hope that made any sort of sense. Again, ideally this year, I just want to buy less than I did the month before the year before, the month of the year before. That is a tongue twister. I'm excited to see if that's going to kind of pan out. I would love to see all green boxes filled in. That would be awesome. Right, ideally, I'd love to like buy nothing, but like, let's be realistic here. It's me we're talking about. It is Michaela Renee that we're talking about, where she does diamond painting vlogs every single week and goes to herself, oh, this is beautiful, I need it. So I don't know. And if you did watch my vlog from last week, I talked about how I was trying to be pickier, and I think I succeeded pretty well last week in some aspects. I mean, the Valentine's Day drop happened last week, and I ended up purchasing during the Valentine's Day drop the Mrs. Butter D that released, and then I got a painting from the weekend before, but I wishlisted a couple of them that I thought were really cute. But like, if I'm being so realistic, I just have to be a little bit more realistic at this point, right? And then this weekend, like I said, I ended up not buying any of the diamond paintings, which is an accomplishment for me. Again, if you've seen any of my vlogs, I do buy a lot, so I thought that was nice. So anyways, that is the tracker at a glance. What is next up on my list? Oh yeah, okay, so I talked about not a low buy, just a more intentional buy. Yeah, not a low buy, not a no buy. It's an intentional buy. Let's talk about my must-have artists. Again, I say must-haves. None of these artists I really think are like strictly every single release I'm gonna buy from them, but let me go ahead and pull this up so that way we can talk about it. I have 10 artists on here, and also being said, just because if an artist isn't listed on here, that doesn't mean I wouldn't buy something from them. That just means that like most of their stuff isn't necessarily ones that I would like immediately think of an auto buy artist, if that makes sense. I'm hoping this all makes sense. Oh my gosh. But I basically have a list of my top 10 favorite artists, and then I have a separate category for the types of paintings that I like. So let's just start with the favorite artists, and I'll basically give you guys a rating out of 10 of like how likely am I to actually purchase a diamond painting from this artist if they release something, and like what would necessarily be like the caveats of like why I wouldn't. So the first artist I have on here is Margaret Morales. I love Margaret Morales. She does really pretty portraits, watercolory kind of portraits. A lot of hers end up being must-haves for me. There are a few from Diamond Art Club that have released that aren't must-haves. You know, when I scroll through her Instagram, there's a few paintings I wouldn't buy. I would say for Margaret Morales, it's probably like an 80% chance, like an 8 out of 10. If Diamond Art Club were to release a Morales painting, I would likely buy it. But yeah, again, there's been a few that I've passed on, but like for the most part, Margaret Morales, I would buy. And I do really love her artwork. It's stunning. So that's the first artist. Then we have Aria Illustration. Aria Illustration has a couple different types of like artwork that she does. One of them is more of like a room scene. So I think like Cozy Christmas is one of them, a really good example. One of my favorite paintings of all time that I've done. And her room scenes are some of my favorites. In general, when it comes to diamond paintings that I really love, I love detail. The bigger the better, the more detail the better. I just love them. And when it comes to Aria Illustration, her room scenes for me are usually must-haves, no-brainer must-haves. I would say probably like 9.5 out of 10 most of the time will buy. The other type of style that she has are more of like busts of heads. So think of the one that just released this past weekend, where it was kind of like a floating head with not a lot going on in the background. That is a little bit more hit or miss for me, and I am more easily able to pass on it, which I did do this weekend. I honestly, though, wasn't actually expecting it to sell out. I guess, I'm glad it did, right? Obviously, I have a feeling it'll restock in the future. I'm not that pressed about it. But I actually don't think I was expecting it to sell out. Those busts, though, they're not always must-haves for me because I prefer, like, if I'm diamond painting, I'd rather diamond paint and, like, see little things come to life. Like little details, right? Like a bookcase or like a cat or like, I don't know, a pumpkin, depending on what painting you're doing. But then like if you're thinking about like the one from this past weekend, you're diamond painting, but you're kind of creating like a picture that's gonna make up a whole rather than like little things that you can like tangibly pick out. So, I was gonna say if that makes sense, but I have to stop saying that because that is annoying. But yeah, those are the kind of the different couple of Aria Illustration paintings. So when I say that she's a must-buy artist, not always, honestly, but I was going to get that head bust this weekend, and then I wishlisted it because it's not a room scene. So I would say the head busts are kind of a 5 out of 10. It really depends because I do have a few of her head busts that I really, really like. Like Galaxy Potion is a really fun head bust, and well, it's not really a head bust, but there isn't like detail work in the background the same way her room scenes are, but that's a part of my rainy day stash. So it just kind of depends on the artwork, which, you know, it makes sense, but yeah, those are, you know, kind of the Aria Illustration, like, guidelines I have on that one. Ivy Dollamore. Ivy Dollamore is one of my favorite artists with Diamond Art Club. My first ever Diamond Art Club painting I ever completed was Big Sis by Ivy Dollamore. I will say that Ivy Dollamore can be pretty hit or miss when it comes to paintings I would want to diamond paint. Like, for example, one released over Black Friday called Citrine, which is gorgeous, but not necessarily one I felt like I needed to have. I would say Ivy Dollamore is probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 likelihood I'll pick up a painting from them. But like, so the heavy hitters really are heavy hitters, right? Like Rose Library was, if you watch my ranking all of my completed diamond paintings I've ever done video, is my top favorite diamond painting I've ever completed. So, yeah, I also co-host an Ivy Dollamore event every single year, so I do really love their artwork, but yeah, some of them just aren't musts. I mean, we're gonna find that with every artist, but that's the case on Ivy. Mrs. Butter D. I love Mrs. Butter D. I love the fact that a lot of her artwork is very like detailed, but like really approachable in that sort of way. A lot of the paintings that do get released with Diamond Art Club are like kind of room scenes in a way. Like there's things going on in them. The ones I will not buy usually, if not always, are the paintings that are number one in rounds, but not all the round ones. Let me be clear, not all the round ones, but the round ones that have a color blocking heavy background. Nope, I don't want those. I don't want those. So that is kind of my like caveat on Mrs. Butter D. So I would say for her, it's probably like a 6 or 7 out of 10 chance I would buy her artwork. Usually I would, but like if there's one that is a little bit more of a color blocking heavy situation, I'm less likely to grab it. So that's the case on Mrs. Butter D. And then we have Marigona Suli. Oh man, I've talked Marigona Suli to death. I love her. I love her artwork so freaking much. Her room scenes, going back to the whole room scene thing, those are always must-haves for me. There's usually not, like, there hasn't been a situation yet with a room scene that I look at it and go, I can pass. There hasn't been one. Even thinking of like the lower buy, intentional buy, I really don't see a situation where that would be like a, I'm not gonna get it. There are some Marigona Suli paintings where like there's a really big block of color background, like one color. I feel like I would be able to pass on those, again, just because I'm not the biggest color blocking fan, but it really depends because like I do have some paintings actually from Yume Art where the background is more color blocky and I don't mind it. So I think if it were in squares, that would definitely be a game changer. I don't necessarily mind the squares as much as like a color blocking round situation. So again, it's very artwork dependent. But for the most part, Marigona Suli, as of right now, the ones that Diamond Art Club has released is usually like a 10 out of 10 will buy, but I'm gonna bump it down to like an 8 or a 9 in case any of those like more, I don't want to call them simple pieces, but like the more chill backgrounds, the not as much stuff going on with a girl and a dragon or however she does it. So there's Marigona Suli. And then we have Art by Julia. I love Art by Julia's ducks. I love her artwork. It's so cute. If you did not know, this past month, I guess it's now February now when I'm uploading this. Last month I co-hosted an Art by Julia event with Natalie and Tiffany from Diamonds at Tiffany's, and I worked on Panda Cafe, which funnily enough, Panda Cafe released over Black Friday. If I hadn't wanted to work on a round for my Art by Julia event, I would have wishlisted Panda Cafe. So Art by Julia is not always a must-have. Her artwork is so pretty, but you have to keep in mind with her artwork, it's a lot of color blocking with a lot of her pieces, especially the ones that are out with Diamond Art Club. And again, I much prefer confetti over color blocking, and but her artwork is so cutesy. I just imagine there's gotta be an Art by Julia eventually that releases that I don't necessarily feel the need to pick up right away. But again, as of right now, it's like an 8 out of 10 chance with an Art by Julia. But I know there's other pieces by Art by Julia that aren't the ducks. I think I just really love the ducks, if I'm being honest. I know there's other pieces of her artwork that I've seen floating around that like if it were to get released, I feel like it would have a lot more color blocking and like just a lot more stuff that I don't necessarily think I'm as drawn to with diamond painting. But as of right now, with kind of like the ducks we've seen get released, yeah, that is more of like a more high chance I'd pick it up. So yeah, that's Art by Julia. And then I have Steve Sundrum. And you guys know, I do really love a good Steve Sundrum landscape. He does a lot of like really fun, whimsical kind of landscapes. And I'm currently working on Harmony in the Highlands by Steve Sundrum. And I'm loving it. It's so pretty. I'm trying to think of a situation with Steve Sundrum. There's a few I haven't picked up. Like there's like Ship in a Bottle he released. There was this like mermaid one where the mermaid baby looked a little, didn't love it. I don't remember which one that was called. So Steve Sundrum, again, not every single piece I buy from him, but a lot of them I do. I just love his use of color and I love his use of whimsy. It's just a really fun time all around. So Steve Sundrum. probably like a 7 out of 10 chance. We don't always see a ton get released from him, so I do like to snatch up the opportunities we get from him, but I, in general, try to be a little bit more intentional about them. And then I have Miss Holly, and Miss Holly just released a painting with Diamond Art Club over the Valentine's Day drop. It was the desserts one. I don't remember the name of it, but I did pass on that one. It is really, really cute. I do really love it. But would I necessarily enjoy diamond painting it as much as some of her other paintings? I don't necessarily think so, which is why I passed on it. There are some Miss Holly paintings that have been in voting that I'm hoping get released as diamond paintings. I feel like there's one with like a bunch of cats. There's more, I just can't picture them. There's just more like people-y ones that have like fun stuff going on in the background. Do we see a theme here? That I feel like I would like more. So that's why I didn't pick up that one. But I would say Miss Holly is usually like a 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of like, likelihood to grab her paintings. So we have her, and then we have Rosie Scribbles. I love Rosie Scribbles. Rosie Scribbles has some really dang good artwork. One of her more recent releases, Psychic Moon Warrior, was that the name of it? It was the girl with purple hair. She was so pretty. She ended up in my rainy day stash. Really love her. Yeah, Rosie Scribbles, I don't know. I really love her artwork, and she is most of the time a must buy for me. So I'd say hers is probably like an 8 out of 10. I'm sure, again, there's going to be a couple paintings that come along the way that I don't feel the need to pick up, but like a lot of what's released with Diamond Art Club, I am obsessed with from her. So we have her. And then the last artist I have on this list is Chrisabug. I've talked about it quite a few times, but Chrisabug paintings aren't necessarily always must-haves. They're very much hit or miss for me in terms of like, would I like to diamond paint this? And the ones that hit for me, they really, really hit. The most recent one that dropped is Sif, and I love Sif. I think she's gorgeous. So Chrisabug is not always a must buy, but like, again, the ones that hit for her, they really hit. So I would say this one, probably like a 5 out of 10. It really just depends on the artwork. But yeah, Chrisabug does some amazing artwork, and I always love seeing people's finishes, especially of the ones that I don't necessarily buy, just because like I love working vicariously through people on paintings that I wouldn't necessarily pick out for myself. So those are the artists that I guess I would quote unquote consider must-have artists, but you can see they all have caveats just depending on the artist. So, and of course there are some I've missed, and some I'm sure that will release with Diamond Art Club that we have not seen yet. But I did just want to go through those artists and just talk about like what is the actual likelihood of me picking up from this artist that I talk about how much I love. So there's that. And then I also just have a few like types of paintings that I like that like I always keep my eyes peeled for. And I feel like this kind of just describes my stash in a nutshell, but my favorite kinds of paintings include portraits, landscapes, which landscapes can be very hit or miss. It is super landscape dependent. I love a good storefront. Oh, I love a good storefront. Oh, I didn't add interior, but I also love a good interior, like a room or like the inside of like a store. I eat that up. Cute pets / goofy pets. I love a good goofy pet image. And then Spangler houses. I feel like that kind of describes like my stash in a nutshell. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of what I usually kind of end up drawn towards, but obviously I don't pick up every single portrait that releases. I don't pick up every landscape that releases, but I don't know. Listen, in 2026, I just want to be a little bit more intentional with what I'm grabbing and making sure it's something that I really, really, really love, and I'm not just buying it because I feel like I need to. And again, it's not going to be a no buy. It's not going to be a low buy. I'm really just intentional. I'm just going to try to be a little bit more intentional and take a look at like what I purchased that same month the previous year and try to stick under that number. So obviously again in January I failed that. I didn't realize I was even on it. Would I have necessarily changed anything had I known that I was maybe going to do this challenge? I don't know, honestly. I really don't know, but I'm excited to see what February has in store, and my plan is to tell you guys every single month in my month in review how I did. and I'll let you guys know if the box was colored in red or if it was colored in green. So that is that whole part. I really hope that made some sort of sense. I don't know if it did. I really hope it did. But I'm excited to just kind of see if I can just make some more intentional purchases over the year and kind of see what comes of that a little bit. So that's kind of the first part of this video. And as like a fun little extra bonus challenge, if you will, I wanted to add in a coloring tracker into my diamond painting journal as well. Here's the deal with adult coloring. I started adult coloring back in 2020. That was my personal pandemic hobby that I had found, and found an amazing community on YouTube, and I started my own channel. And that is how kind of my YouTube channel came to be. And, well, mostly in a nutshell. And when I discovered diamond painting, I totally put coloring on the back burner, and I have for the last 3 years. Put coloring on the back burner, which is fine. I mean, I wasn't really enjoying it as much, but today actually I had run across a video from Erica Elm Colors, which she colors so insanely beautifully. If you're into adult coloring in any capacity, I'll leave her channel link down below. Go check her out, please, please, please. She just did a video about her 5-year YouTube anniversary and chatting about just fun different things, and it reminded me, I was like, oh, I just kind of miss this, you know? I miss this community aspect of the coloring community, and I was like, well, I could try pulling out my coloring books again, and my goal for 2026 with coloring is to attempt to color a page a month. Have I done that for January? No. But it's January 31st. I still could. Listen, it is only 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I have the entire evening if I want to color a page. Doesn't have to be a Disney page. Doesn't have to be anything detailed. As long as I color a page, I can color in a green box. I'm going to use the same green and red markers that I'm using in my other tracker for the coloring tracker. So, I don't know. I just was feeling kind of inspired to see if I can color a little bit more this year. And what I will be doing also is writing in the box the number of pages I colored that month. So if it's 1 page, if it happens to be 20, if I color 20 pages in a month, I'm pretty sure I'd give myself a heart attack if I did that. But yeah, that's kind of the plan. Again, this whole video kind of felt a little bit chaotic, but I wanted to talk about what my thoughts were kind of going into the new year. I know we're going into February now, but it's still early enough in the year, and I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of what I might do with this information, and I hope this was like inspiring just the slightest bit to somebody here. So that is it. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I am going to be listing down below all of the other wonderful ladies I have listed in today's video in the description box. Go subscribe to each and every one of them. They are amazing and beautiful humans. So that is it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you're not already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, guys.